Welcome to another session of Master's Voice. I'm here joined by Patrick, and myself, Juicy. And today we talk about magic items. Is that right?
That is right, indeed. There's a lot of magic items in all the realms that we have made in D&D. And today we're going to talk about a few things like balancing them and how to use them, introducing items. I myself have used a lot, and I mean a lot of magic items.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you've done the same or are you more common?
Yeah, there's quite a difference in different DMs, how they use magic items. Some are very, very sparse on them. Some use them a lot. I am more in favor of the high fantasy, plenty of magic items, but also I do tend to not use them a lot and not give them away anyway. But I'm very curious, if you use so many items, do you just bury your players in magic items? Or
No, not at all. I do use them a lot, but most of my magic items are just mundane magic items. Like here you got a stone. If you put a stone on the table, you got food.
right.
Or here you got a stick, and if you put it up your nose, you won't have to breathe underwater or something like that.
So convenient
Just little convenient things. It is not really
things.
big
Yeah.
things, actually. Well, the water breathing might be a big thing, but
So can we
the other
use your
ones-
magic, buy your magic items at the local grocery store, or
No,
are they
no.
special?
There are a few more common items like a +1 dagger or a magic staff you can buy in a magic store. But the rest, they have to get through something, through an event or finding it or buying it for a ton of money.
Right. And when you say a ton of money, how do you price your magic items?
Well, there are a few tables also in the books of the official books of D&D.
Hmm.
There are a few price ranges, but if I tend to make my own or find it online, I try to compare it with some others from the book to see what my pricing is. Is that also your way?
Well, I'm not comparing mostly. I do it out of my gut, really. But I have sort of a tiered system in my mind. For example, one-use potions, such as Potion of Invisibility, I might price between 100 for really cheap to up to 300 or 400 for very expensive, depending on where they are and how in demand they are,
Okay,
or how well they roll on their persuasion.
but you got that in your head.
Yes, for potions like that, it would be in the hundreds. For health potions, usually cheaper, between 50 and 100. And more mundane items could be around 30, 50, 60, something like that. Usually not much cheaper if it's about real magic.
And if it is like a +1 sword?
Right, then the prices go much steeper for me. And I would say for a +1 sword, that's not super, game changing. So I might go around between 300 and 500.
Yeah.
But if you go for example, it gives you advantage on saving throws permanently, or it's a cloak of invisibility, stuff like that, then I will go into the thousands of gold.
Okay.
So a +1 protection for armor class, which is, that's quite a step up, I think. That would go into the thousands. A +2 would maybe go into several thousands, and
Yeah.
+3 in the 10,000.
It mostly is times 10. Like
Yeah,
500 for a +1, 5,000 for a +2, 50,000 for a +3, and so
yes,
on.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because if you do too cheaply or if they're too common, then it's also not really that special anymore for the players.
And when you hide or stock your shops with magic items, do you figure out beforehand what they cost and what they do, or do you sometimes make them up on the spot?
Combination of both, actually. It depends on where they are. Like if they're in a wealthy city, then there's a lot, and then I will just find them on the spot, not make them up, but I find some in the book. Like, okay, this is a mundane item which could be happening there. But sometimes I feel like there should be something special in a place, but I haven't figured it out yet. So I just say that they found something.
Right.
Like last time I talked about the Axe of Time.
Yes.
Well, that was just on the spot. Like you find an axe and it's yellow. I didn't even know what it did, but I just said you found a yellow axe. They don't know what it does. I don't know what it does either.
You'll figure that out as the journey continues. Yeah, sometimes you can do that, especially if you keep it vague. And that is also an interesting approach on introducing your magic items. So if they find one, like how will you tell them up straight, well, it's a +1 on your armor class cloak? Or will you say, no, this axe glows and seems to be magical in nature, but from face value, you cannot tell what it does.
Yeah, how do you do that?
The way I do it is similar to what you describe, but it depends on the class. If they are spellcasters, then I'll tell them, why don't you make an Arcana roll? Or if they have a detect magic, then I will probably up straight tell them what it is if they use that. But if they decide to roll an Arcana check, then I will describe more vaguely what it could probably do, what kind of magic it is, what kind of school of magic.
So you don't directly say what it is. They do need a spell to find out what it is, but if they make an Arcana check, they know a little bit about it.
Yeah, unless if they do an Arcana check and they roll well, then I will tell them they figure out how to use it, but they're not quite sure exactly what it does, but probably in the range of a certain magic school, so they are familiar with. So they'll have to try it in order to find out what it does, or indeed cast detect magic to know beforehand. Next to detect magic, you also have identify, which will tell you more accurately what kind of magic item it is. And often, not always, I will tell them, oh, you have a sword of dragon slaying, as it's literally saying in the book, but I will then, of course, attach the lore to it that's behind the weapon, not literally reading from the book.
Yeah, like telling the story instead of just saying the title of the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And how are you do this?
The introduction, you mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, actually, just like I did with the axe, I just say you found this and that. If they are magical, or I mean the person who finds it is magical, then I say, okay, you feel there's a magic inside of here. You don't know what it is. You could try to find out. But I never say myself, you can do an Arcana check. They have to tell them themselves if they want to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of role playing that they themselves want to do it instead of I'm telling them they can do it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a puzzle on its own, finding a magic item.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Bring it.
So you can have magic items, and that gives a player a certain boon or advantage. Have you ever thought or given your players a cursed magic item?
I have thought about it, but I've never actually done it, no. I did have the idea in my head to try it. I also made a few magic items with the curse on it. And sadly, they always walked around it in a way. I never got it.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, it happens. I did do it, but they never got it. So I've no experience with giving them magic items with our cursed. Have you there?
I have until recently not either. I have now one of my players in one of the campaigns does have a magic item that is somewhat cursed, but its effects have not yet been revealed. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm very curious. But yeah, I was excited for the idea of adding a cursed item and see how the players will deal with that. So
finally,
yes. Have you ever had a magic items that completely screwed your party or even your entire plot line or adventure? For example, there's two very famous ways to screw up your party with magic items. One being the deck of many things.
Deck of many, yes. Don't talk about that.
No, and the other is just give your party 2 bags of holding.
Yeah, that could be fun. I did not give them out, but I did have a pool of a deck of holding, and I got 3 wishes out of it.
Oh, damn. Did you ever use them?
Yes, I did use them. I can't remember the whole thing, but I do remember that the last thing I wished was for a really powerful spell, and it did kill the opponent, but also my teammate.
Oh.
Yeah, so he had to roll a new character.
It's such an unpredictable spell, man. That must have you must have felt quite guilty.
Yeah, in the moment I was too hyped, but afterwards it was like, oh, sorry.
Yep.
Happens.
I've never given my players a wish spell, but I really want to sometime.
Try it.
Just to see what's going through their minds after I give them one.
If you give them a wish spell, they will always make themselves well. Enough said, I think.
Yeah. I think that will do for today, unless you have something to add.
No, we could talk about a lot more about magic items, the prices, frequent or not, how you choose a magic item, where you make them,
how you hide them,
where you hide them. So if there's somebody who wants to know more about these things, leave a like and place a comment down below. And maybe you got some other things you want us to talk about magic items.
Hope to see you next time, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Master's Voice. I'm Juicy, and together with McPatty, I record and make those podcasts. Besides making podcasts, I also am a writer of words. I write adventures and supplements for Dungeons & Dragons on the Dungeon Masters Guild. You can find my work under RPG Papercrafts. Besides writing words, I also make battle maps. Not just flat ones, but 3-dimensional ones. They pop up battle maps that you can use to fascinate your players in a unique way. You can find my pop-up maps on Twitter and Patreon, both under the name of RPG Papercrafts. You can't miss it. Just search for RPG Papercrafts and you'll find me there. Again, thanks for tuning in and see you next time.